One of the main practices of many forms of psychotherapy is simply bringing awareness to bear on your interior. And awareness is a curative factor. Awareness itself is curative. And so you might be that you have a dream and you come in, you report the dream to the therapist, you talk about the dream. You are objectifying it in a healthy sense. You're detaching from it. You might talk about your relationship with your lover, your husband, your wife, and you're having this problem and that problem, and you talk about it, you're objectifying it, you're looking at it. And every time you do that, you fall into just that pattern we talked about of transcending. You're taking something you identified with and you're making it an object. So you're freeing the witness more and more from its false identifications with these little selves and little problems and little pains that come and go. And the more you look at them with a kind of evenly hovering awareness, the more you're getting free of them. So it doesn't matter if you look at them in Jungian terms or Freudian terms or Gestalt terms. We have a whole lot of evidence showing that psychotherapy is equally effective no matter what the actual content of the belief of the therapist, and has much more to do with factors of awareness and acceptance.
Another idea that I wanted to go into was this one about cognitive therapy in the book. Alan Beck, for example, a pioneer in cognitive therapy, has found that in most cases of depression, people have a series of false scripts of beliefs, and they keep repeating these myths as if they were true. When we are depressed, we talk to ourselves in untruthful ways. If one person doesn't like me, it means nobody will like me. If I fail at this particular task, it means I will fail at everything. If I don't get this job, my life is over. If she doesn't love me, nobody else will, and so on. Now, perhaps these false scripts got started at an earlier fulcrum, perhaps fulcrum 3 or fulcrum 2 or earlier, and more psychoanalytically oriented therapists or an uncovering therapist might try to dig back to these earlier traumas to find out why the person is generating these myths and even magical beliefs or archaic impulses. But the cognitive therapist tends to simply attack the myths head on. The person will be asked to monitor their interior dialogue and look for these myths and then expose them to reason and evidence. Okay, if I don't get this job, I guess it doesn't really mean my life is over. I know I've been subject to those kind of scripts. Like I was saying about the lion tamer theory that my mom kept coming up with. And, the trouble was I didn't really have any evidence to think that it wasn't true because, the track record showed that, a lot of times that the evidence was, against it. But, like when I got that job from Rock at a musician playground, that was evidence to the contrary, and I accepted that. But there was also, was it because, he liked my work, or was it that he just felt sorry for me? There's also, different kinds of, interpretation of that evidence for or against. And so when you're depressed, it's kind of hard to determine, whether or not, the reasons for it and you can't really determine, whether or not, the negative stuff outweighs the positive stuff. I know that Chris, for example, wouldn't listen to any reasons at all, and she believes the implicit, all the negative stuff implicitly, nothing, and no evidence that I could say could ever change her mind about any of it. not exactly sure if that means that I'm less susceptible to those kind of scripts and can talk myself out of them, but that doesn't seem to help with avoiding the depression altogether. So maybe it's just that I need more positive reinforcement, whether she would get over it, whereas she wouldn't accept any evidence to the contrary, couldn't bring herself out of it no matter what happened.
Now, most people in today's world come to a therapist and their center of gravity is level 3 or level 4. So let's say it's level 4, which is the rational, egoic, industrial, typical kind of person. Now, their problem, from a sort of psychotherapeutic stance, is that they have some shadow, image, impulse, emotion, libido, power drive, something that was split off at level 1 or 2, and it's still down there in the basement causing trouble. So they're repressing it, and there's a repression barrier, and they have to uncover the shadow, befriend the shadow, and integrate it. So their center of gravity still stays roughly at level 4. That's not going to change very much. But what they are doing is going and finding these little subpersonalities that are lower levels and kind of bringing them up to level 4. So everybody's comes together, and then you're integrated at that level. So you're healthy at that level because you've integrated what you have at that level.